Nordstrom has always had a strong commitment to providing the best service, quality, and experience for its customers. But I think as our customers' preferences for how they want to shop have evolved, we've needed to change how we serve them. So if you think about mobile, now everybody's on their mobile devices, and about 70% of the US population today has a mobile device, and that's nearly double what that percentage was in 2011. So you can just see over this short period of time how rapidly consumers' ways of communicating with each other has changed, and how e-commerce has changed as well. So we have a mobile app now that you can shop on, for example, and in order to get the programming and get your website running efficiently, you need to get some top quality engineers who can make sure your site is functioning at optimum speed. And so making it easy for customers to purchase and creating that seamless online experience is something that we constantly strive to replicate in the same way that we do in the stores. And so it's a different type of skill set, and traditionally we've always been a very promote from within company where you start out as a salesperson and move down what we call our inverted pyramid, where you become a store manager or a department manager, and then you become a regional manager and move down to becoming an executive. And with this growth of technology, we've had to think differently about how we develop career paths for people. We've had to hire a lot of jobs externally, for example, data scientists and software engineers, where you have capabilities that aren't developed internally. And I think with the speed of technology, it's oftentimes necessary to go externally rather than train individuals internally, because it can take time, and time is of the essence oftentimes when you're dealing with e-commerce. And so I think it's really important to still create opportunities for people to grow internally and to continue to hire people who possess that customer service focus that our reputation is based on, because that's what differentiates us from other retailers and makes us unique.
The definition of a hot job is a job where the demand for the skilled talent is outstripped by the supply of labor in the marketplace. The life cycle of a hot job is a 5-stage process that's always evolving. In the first stage, new business models, government regulations, and technologies emerge in the marketplace. Next, based on these changes in the marketplace, a shortage in the supply of labor develops for specialized skills. This shortage of labor and skills drives up salaries and bonuses for hot jobs. Over time, employees receive training and education in these hot skill areas, and a skilled workforce emerges. In the long run, these hot jobs and skills become integrated into the labor market as standard benchmarks. And the life cycle of hot jobs starts all over again as business and technology continue to evolve. Two of the main factors that impact hot job supply and cycle movement are the availability of internal training and external training. Internal training includes on-the-job training and company training. Some companies actually hire someone with hot skills, and they have them provide on-the-job training to other employees who don't have the hot skills.
Critical workforce segmentation is a way of looking at your workforce and basically determining which of those hot jobs in the market are critical to your organization. You can actually plot your job titles on a 2x2 matrix, where the x-axis looks at the impact of that job on the value chain of the organization from low to high, and the y-axis looks at the supply and demand of the job from low to high. So by definition, the jobs that have high impact on the value chain in the organization and are also in high or short demand in the supply in the marketplace are critical workforce segments. So that's one way of looking at hot jobs and tying them to your organization to determine which of these hot jobs are really critical to our success. Some of the hot job and critical workforce segment pay strategy trends include using retention bonuses, using premium pay, sometimes adjustments to base salaries, or adjustments to incentive targets, increasing those targets, as well as maybe a long-term incentive award. So you can really think of it as a spectrum, and you need to look at how long do we think this job is going to be hot, how critical is it to the organization, and how long do we want to retain the person. And so if you think about those rewards I discussed, retention bonuses and a premium on pay would be more of a short-term reward or compensation, and a long-term incentive or a change to the annual incentive target, or especially an increase in the base salary, would be more of a long-term way of attracting and retaining that critical workforce or that job.
To identify the hot jobs that are vital in your organization, you're really going to have a lot of help. First, your recruiters are going to let you know. As the times to fill roles become longer than desired, they will reach out to try to get your help from a compensation perspective to identify, is this a piece of my problem? Am I not offering enough pay to be able to attract and recruit the folks that we really need to? Another source of your help is going to be the line managers. It's amazing how either literally or figuratively, they will come knocking at your door as those hot jobs emerge. Either it's a critical skill that maybe has left the organization when they really wanted to retain that skill set, or it's just taking too long to be able to get the skills that are really needed for that department to accomplish their objectives. And so amazingly, they will come and let you know which ones are the hot jobs. You can also look at turnover statistics, because as you start seeing unwanted turnover in certain job classifications, that is going to give you a hint that there are certain ones that are hot that you need to be paying more attention to. To differentiate the rewards that you provide to the hot jobs and to the critical workforce segment jobs, you really take a look at the various elements of compensation that you have available. And we've done a hot skills survey and actually asked participants how they go about using the various compensation strategies to handle the situation. And the biggest thing that we heard was range penetration. We target a higher portion of the range to pay our hot skills jobs. So for instance, instead of using a competitive median or a midpoint of the range, they'll actually identify a higher point in the range, like maybe 75th percentile. Look at the market data that they do have available, be able to get premium pay or some way of identifying a higher pay position for those hot jobs and critical skill sets. And there are a couple other strategies that you really can employ. One is short-term incentive. You can either make a job that would not normally be eligible for incentive eligible, because it is a hot job or a critical workforce job. You can also add them as a discretionary component to your program. You can say, okay, not only do we have kind of the calculated incentive formula-driven awards, but we also then have discretionary payments that go to some of these hot job employees as well as critical workforce segments. Same thing can be done with long-term incentives. You can decide that even though they're not normally eligible, that some of the folks really do need some one-time grants, or perhaps they need to be in the program for longer term if they really are critical to your organization's success.